looking out on the morning rain. I used to feel so uninspired, and when I knew I had to face another day, Lord, it made me feel so tired. Good morning, Facebook. This is Lorenza Coleman, better known as Bo Coleman. I am coming live to you with Elephants in the Room, which is a new podcast series I think you're going to like a whole lot. And we have a couple of topics to talk about today. But before we do, I want to explain to you a little bit more about Elephants in the Room. Elephants in the Room, again, is a podcast that we've created that we're going to talk about all the opinion issues. You know, there's a lot of issues today especially involving Black America, but America as a whole, the world as a whole, really. So we're trying to give some insight on not just our opinions of what's going on, but we want to hear your opinions too. So don't forget to click the likes for us. So it's been a trying week for our community. You know, last time we talked about the Tyree Nichols murder, and we talked about the officers involved, and we talked about the video. Again, I saw the video, and I saw it again. A lot of things I missed the first time, and it was horrific the first time I saw it. Now it's even more horrific. I don't know what these police officers were thinking, but there's rumors out there that Mr. Nichols was actually dating an ex of one of the police officers. I don't know how true that is, so I'm not going to spread any rumors, but I've heard it from a few sources that is true. But hopefully, as things go on, we'll get more information about that. And if it is true, it certainly explains a lot. Explains a lot about the mentality of certain people and how jealousy and rage can take you to a level that's not even imaginable at times. And now, it doesn't explain anything, doesn't excuse anything for sure. It certainly doesn't explain why the other 4 officers were involved. So we're looking at a pack mentality, you know, and in my opinion, this was probably among the worst things I've ever seen involving human beings. So to further this, we all know that actually what we talked about last time was just to tip up the iceberg. Apparently, more and more are coming out. You got more people coming out complaining about this, a certain unit, which is called the Scorpion Unit. I think I explained it to you last time. The Scorpion Unit stands for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods. Peace. It's supposed to be peace, but nothing about that video looked peaceful to me. And we did go over the names of the police officers involved. To refresh your memories, one was by the name of Justin Smith, other Emmett Martin III, Desmond Miller, Demetrius Haley, and to Darius Bean. Okay, those are the 5 officers that are involved. But now we're learning more about this situation. We're learning that there was also a 6th officer involved. He wasn't involved in the actual beating, but he was involved in the initial stop. And from what I'm gathering, he was the first one to tase Mr. Nichols. And his name was Preston Hempel. He's the only white officer that's been involved in this incident. And everything is going on pending an investigation. He has hired a lawyer, has counsel, which you have a right to do. And his defense is that he did not participate in the actual beating that caused Mr. Nichols' death. But in my opinion, he's an accessory to it. He was there. He had encouraged it. In fact, it's recorded him saying when he found out that they had actually caught up with Mr. Nichols, that his words were, and this is not hearsay, this is recorded. We can hear him say, "Good. I hope they stomp his A," if you know what A means. Okay, so apparently he went along with what was going on. You know, he has no problem with this kind of behavior happening. So in my opinion, he should be prosecuted too. I wouldn't say for murder, but for accessory. You know, he knew what was about to happen, and he even commented that he gave a stamp of approval on it. Uh, but there were also three firefighters that had been fired. Okay, and their names are Demontre Cedric, Robert Long, and they are medics, and their lieutenant by the name of, I think her name was Michelle Whitaker. Michelle Whitaker. She was there, and they've been fired for not doing appropriate medical assisting to Mr. Nichols, which I feel is appropriate. They should be, in my opinion, they should be charged for murder too. Anytime you have the resources and it's your job to save a life and you don't do it, that's murder. This man probably could have lived had they rendered CPR or rendered some type of first aid upon arrival. And my understanding also was that it took a long time before the ambulance came. We're talking about 20 to 30 minutes. That's way too long. Way too long. I'm in the medical field myself, so I know how important time is when it comes to saving a life. You can't put that on hold. You can't press a button and say, hey, we're going to hold this and we'll give it some time. No, you got to act immediately. Everything has to be done at that moment. So I think all the charges, if any charges come, we'll be on standby and we'll let you know. We don't know for sure. My understanding is that the sixth officer, Mr. Hempel, my understanding is that he on administrative leave, which in my opinion is just paid vacation, if you know what I mean. But anyway, enough about that. But we're going to stay on this because I think we just reached the tip of the iceberg of this police department. We're going to learn more and more as time goes on, I think, because a lot of witnesses, a lot of past victims have come forward with their statements, and it all seems to line up. And I think there's going to be some change at the top, in my opinion, too, because something like this can't be going on without the people at the top knowing it. In fact, one of the witnesses stated that he actually sent two complaints to Internal Affairs 3 or 4 days prior to this event happening. And had they taken it seriously, Mr. Nichols may have been alive today. But apparently they didn't. So we're going to stay on top of this, and I want to hear your opinion on it, and I want to get as much feedback as we can. Again, the name of my station's Elephant in the Room. You can find it under Lorenza Coleman. That's Lorenza Coleman. And it should come up too. Now, there's a third thing I want to talk about. Second thing, perhaps, I want to talk about. And if you might have noticed, the song I played at the beginning of the segment was Natural Woman by Aretha Franklin. This song was recorded by Aretha Franklin in 1967. It was written by a writer by the name of Carole King, along with Jerry Goffin and Terry Wexler. These are all the songwriters of Natural Woman. It was recorded by Aretha Franklin in 1967. Okay, and if you're into R&B, soul, you know what Natural Woman is. And you know who Aretha Franklin is, who was a queen of soul. Natural Woman is probably, along with other songs, I say Natural Woman, Respect, and a few other, but particularly Natural Woman, Respect are her staple songs. Those are the ones when you hear Aretha Franklin, you think of one of those two songs. Of course, I'm from the old school, so I might be different for the newer people, but I remember the album that she came out with in 1967 that had Respect on it. It's called I Never Loved a Man the Way That I Love You. And that was a phenomenal album. It went platinum. It was great. And to this day, people are still singing and listening to that album. Now, you might wonder, why did I bring that up? Well, apparently, certain people in the trans community were offended by the song, claiming that it promoted violence and against trans women, which I don't understand, because keep in mind that song was produced in 1967. Trans women weren't an issue. So there was a group called the Transculture Mindfulness Alliance. Transcultural Mindfulness Alliance, TCMA, who put out a complaint about Aretha's song, Natural Woman, again, claiming that it promoted violence and intolerance towards the trans community. Okay, I've listened to that song over and over again, and I don't know what they're talking about. This is a great song. And I wish someone could explain to me what is so transphobic about this song. You know, all it talks about is a woman who is giving props to the man she loves because he makes her feel like a woman should feel. What's wrong with that? Apparently, some people have an issue with it. In fact, they went on to say that Apple and Spotify should ban this song. Okay, you know, I don't get it either. So, but here's the thing: they got such a backlash, swift and hard backlash from primarily the black community, that they come out and make another statement saying that, well, it was just a spoof. You know, we weren't serious about it. It was just a parody. But there was nothing parody in that statement. You know, I read the statement. There was nothing parody about it. No, you're trying to backtrack now. Now, I don't get me wrong. I'm all for freedom of all people. If you feel like you're a man trapped in a woman's body, okay. If you feel like you're a woman trapped in a man's body, okay. I don't feel that way. I'm very comfortable with being a man. So who am I to say how somebody else should feel? But when you cross the line by trying to attack some of our icons, particularly one who is not alive to defend herself, that's when I cross the line. You can't do that. You can't do that. And whoever this group is, whether you're serious or not, you just took away anything that people might consider logical about you. Yeah, there's been a lot of people who worked hard in the trans community, but what you did now caused more harm than anything else. Yeah, this is where we should stand up and say, "Oh no, 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 no. You're gonna have to step back on this one. You're gonna have to walk this one back, because that's not happening." Now, I love to hear your comments, and I love to hear your likes. Again, this is the elephant in the room, uh, and we're going to be talking on different topics. We're going to put out maybe, hopefully, about 6 more before the month's up. You know, but we'll just keep cranking them out because we know that people want to talk. I want to hear from you. We're a new group, but we're going to expand. We're going to grow. And when I say we, I'm talking about there's 3 other people who are going to come on board as regulars. Hopefully, we have Ernest Boyd, Chris Henry, and Louise Morales. And we hope to have our podcast expand. We want you to stay on board. We want you to tell others about it, and we're going to grow from there. So, I appreciate your time, and please respond, give us your likes or maybe your dislikes. Please give us information how we can improve, and even give topics you want to talk about. Again, we're open to everyone. So, see you next week.